And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, Dap?
I'm David Jacoby. These pauses are getting longer.
I'm in a professional environment. The door is open. Okay. He's over there doing radio. I'm just being respectful. You can start it right now. It's not live. And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby. What do we do?
We get the people what they want.
A lot to discuss today. We have some really irresponsible rumors about the future of Kevin Durant's employment. We have Khalil Mack and the Bears beating up the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. And we have cultural and regional. Make sure you send us voicemails at 9580-JALEN and give us the cultural or regional questions. We love those. We need some female voicemails.
Hey, ladies!
Tomorrow is Women Crush Wednesday, Women's Wednesday, whatever we call it. We'll be doing that tomorrow on television. So, ladies, call 9580-JALEN and leave us voicemails. And we'll play them on the show, just like this.
Yo, what's good? Jalen and Jacoby, this your boy, Tim again, calling out Columbia, South Carolina, updating you guys on the Hurricane Florence situation. Shout out Reds. How about, guys, I end up getting a day off because of my children's daycare. Got canceled due to the storm, so I'm still getting them checks. Shout out to Reg. Speaking of checks, I got a couple things, soft move or boss move. Boss move. The first thing is I'm a big Los Angeles Rams fan. Shout out to Sean McVay. Shout out to the Rams. And we were playing the Raiders on opening Monday Night Football. We were down 13-10 at half. And I couldn't take it because I know we are a better team, and I know John Gruden is overpaid. And I left the room. I left the house. I left the party. I left the Rams party. I couldn't watch it. And when I left, in the second half, we scored 23 unanswered points. So that a soft move or boss move. And one more thing, cultural-wise. In the South, when my auntie, grandma, cousins, or anybody's cooking in the kitchen, you always stay out of the kitchen. You might get killed. You might get your head ripped off in the South. We don't play that. Is it like that up there? Just let me know, guys, man. Thanks for checking on me. Jacoby, I do metal shells. I do plastic shells. I do it all. Shout out to my company, Columbia Shelving and Mirrors. Shout out to GBT. Shout out to my Gamecocks, Lakers, and Rams, LeBron James. Get those checks, guys. Thanks for showing me love.
Thank you, Tim. The Shelf King of Columbia, South Carolina. You need shelves, metal shelves, wood shelves, plastic shelves. You got 3 shelves, bookshelves, display shelves. Tim got you the shelves, man. The shelves man said soft move or boss move. He was watching his favorite team, the Rams. They were down, so he left the party, and then they came back.
What? I just think it's no move. Not a boss move, not a sauce move.
Not a move.
It's just like, I'm a Lions fan. We 0-2. And I'm done with the, when I'm watching the game, we play a lot better.
I got to sit
Or when
in this
I'm
chair.
not watching the game. Like, I learned when I was young that don't work.
The Podfather does this. Like, the Podfather
that don't work.
Makes you sit in a certain seat and changes his hats. And if his son is in the room and things start to go bad, he kicks his son out the room. Like, he really thinks that he's in control of the game.
And
I respect that.
For a team that's won one playoff game in 60 years, I learned that superstition.
You sat in every chair.
It doesn't work.
You tried every jersey.
It does not work.
Yeah,
all I know is Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. That's our quasi Super Bowl. So the rest of the world get ready, because that's when Detroit stands up.
You know, that's the only growl we're going to hear is if they win the Super Bowl game. Oh, that's the first growl of the year, ladies and gentlemen. The first growl of the year. Jalen Rose just thinking about the Super Bowl with his 0-2 Lions. Second, hard rule, stay out the kitchen, is regional.
Yep.
Throwing that out there.
The term stay out of the kitchen?
No, just like you can't go in the kitchen. If you go in the kitchen, there's serious ramifications and repercussions. It's just a hard rule. Stay out the kitchen. I think that's a Southern thing.
That's regional. That's almost like having that furniture in the living room that's the nicest piece in the house that has plastic on it, and it's been there for years, and you're not allowed to sit on it.
I think that one thing you sleep on, they got more room in the South. There's just more space.
More bang for your buck.
You're in a New York City apartment. You're in a Boston apartment. You got to get in the kitchen. There's only 3 rooms in the house. You know what I mean?
And by the way, it's 3 rooms in the house, and you just spent $1 million.
Exactly.
Don't forget that part.
Tim, I appreciate the update. You got the day off because of your children. You got the daycare day off, so it's not even your fault. So your boss ain't mad at you. That's a boss move.
Worked out perfect.
Worked out for you. If we ever need some shelves, if you need some shelves in the Carolinas or in Georgia, holler at Tim.
Shout out.
All right, we got time for one more voicemail. Reggie, let's get it.
Yo, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Kendall Gady from Atlanta, Georgia. Actually from Birmingham, Alabama. Pleasant Grove, Alabama, to be specific. I'm upset right now. I heard you guys talking about this negotiation piece that you can do when you go into a jewelry store. I did not know this. I wish I had known this about 5 years ago when I was buying my wife's engagement ring. I paid the ticket price. Matter of fact, I paid the price right out of the book. So I'm kind of upset. The ring is paid off now. I'm angry. I didn't know this, but much love. Keep giving the people what they want. Say hey, Levi.
Hey.
Big shout to Levi.
Shout out.
Big shout to Levi. Levi sounded like she was about 5 years old, about Quincy's age. So this gentleman, Kendall Gady, I like that he gave his last name. He paid full price. He paid the actual price on the ticket at the jeweler when he bought his engagement ring. I just want to say, I feel bad for you, Kendall. I feel really bad for you. I'm sure it was worth it. I'm sure your wife, you can't put a ticket price on the love that you two share. You can't put a ticket price on Levi. So it's all going to work out in the end. But you know what happened after you left that jewelry store? They laughed at you. They definitely laughed at you. Always negotiate. I have a life philosophy. You know, I have a lot of these philosophies if you listen to Jalen and Jacoby. One is called get the no. Get the no. Just get the no. Hey, can I get $1,000 off? No? Oh, okay. All right. I guess I'll pay it. Always get the no. Get the no. Try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? They can say no. That's how it works. You should have gotten the no on that one. But another thing is, if you're ever shopping for an engagement ring, you need a plug. You can't just walk into the local jewelry store and meet somebody for the first time and be like, hi, my name's David. I'm looking to get engaged. What's your name? No, you need to be recommended by somebody. That person needs to come with you. Also, gentlemen, if you're getting an engagement ring, don't just go and pick your favorite ring. You have to bring the best friend. You have to sort of understand what she wants. She's going to be wearing it every single day. It's not like buying a pair of shoes that she's going to wear a few times and run through. No. She's going to wear it every single day for the rest of her life. Make sure that she is happy with it.
First and foremost, when you go to a jewelry store, it's like purchasing a used car. There's room for negotiation.
A lot of it.
And whatever's on the tag, you're foolish if you pay it when you walk out. Every time you go to a jewelry store and you make a purchase, they're going to negotiate with you.
Another thing.
Each and every time. And guess what else? They're going to make you think you got a deal when you buy it, even though you actually did.
I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't put on wax, but if you buy some jewelry, one thing you want to do, walk out of the jewelry store with a, I don't know what it's called, a proof of purchase. Appraisal. You get the appraisal, because you know what they do with the appraisal?
They jack it up.
The guy said to me, he was like, what number do you want me to put here?
They jack it up.
I thought this was like an official business transaction. I thought there was some sort of checks and balances in this, because you use the appraisal for what, Jalen?
Insurance purposes. And therefore, since they don't have to pay any fees if you lose it.
They just print it out.
And they don't have to pay the monthly that you're going to pay for insurance for it. They don't care. So you can spend
$100. Just say $100, and they'll appraise it for $400.
Correct.
They don't even care.
Correct.
I didn't know this was a thing. And then that appraisal goes to your insurance company, and if that $100 whatever it is earring gets lost, your insurance company pays you $400 because they've got a piece of paper that says it's $400.
But the catch is you're still paying more for goods.
You're paying more for the insurance.
Insurance-wise. Therefore, if you never lose it or it never gets stolen, you actually just paid more for an item than you actually should have.
That's fine. However, not everyone's wife is like this, but my wife leaves the engagement ring all over the house. I find it in the bathroom next to the sink. I find it just in the sheets in the bed. I find it next to the bed on the table. I find it knocked off the table on the floor of the bedroom, just sitting there on the rug. I find that thing all over the house. I'm just like, do you know how much? This is the most expensive thing I've ever purchased in my whole entire life, and you're just leaving it around the house like it's a cookie crumb. So that's why I got that shirt. Because one day it's going to go missing, and one day the insurance company's going to say, hey, how much do I owe these people? And they're going to look at a big number.
I thought you were going to say one day the kids are going to get bigger. And before you know it, Q and the twins are going to be able to grab things off the counter. They're going to start playing with it, start show and tell, put it in the pocket.
Going to school.
You're going to see Q putting it on his hand. You'll see the girls putting it on.
You know what I always do? I always find it, and then I grab it, and I pocket it, and I'll be like, oh, Joe, you're not wearing your ring. Where's it at? And just watch her panic for a little bit. That's one of my moves. That's one of the ways to torture your significant other.
And if you want to torture her, she's going to torture you back, because one day you're going to say, where is it? She's going to be like, I lost it.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Let's get the people what they want.
Got to give the people time. Give the people what they want.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm as happy as a clam.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will be, quote, as happy as a clam, unquote. The Geico legal team cannot accurately verify clams even experience the complex human emotional state known as happiness. As an invertebrate mollusk living half submerged on the ocean floor, with no arms, legs, or wireless access, what's there to be happy about? A clam's all like, oh, I'm so happy I didn't get turned into New England clam chowder today, pronounced regionally as chowder. Chowder. Oh, that's so fun to say. What were we talking about again?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Last night, Monday Night Football, the Bears and the Bears defense led by Khalil Mack.
Return of the Mack.
Look at him right here. Got a little strip. Give me that. Russell Wilson. He was pressuring Wilson all night long. The Bears offense looked pretty good behind Mitchell Trubisky. And then there was this pick
want to give everybody a style to run with.
Amukamara.
Ready for it?
Sealing the game. Oh, sorry, Russell. Can't catch me.
Return of the Mack.
Yes, the Mack is back. And he looked great last night. Was this more about the sputtering Seattle offense or about the rejuvenated Bears defense?
This is so much about, it's refreshing when you play for a team and or you root for a team and they have an actual identity.
Okay.
When Russell Wilson first got drafted, a terrific first-tier quarterback, not taking anything away from him in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't have a run game. Baldwin is out, and the Legion of Boom only has
they're no longer Legion.
Earl Thomas back there.
It's just Boom.
Okay? So with that being said, he was on his rookie deal. You were able to build out your roster. That transfers me to talking about the Chicago Bears. They have a young quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky who's on a rookie deal.
Yep.
So how do you get an identity? You bring in Khalil Mack. Now all of a sudden you draw on the history of Buckets, Singletary, Urlacher, the monsters of the Midway. You plug him right in. Now all of a sudden you harken back to when the Bears were at their best, they were led by their defense. You draft Roquan Smith in the first round.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden they're getting after the quarterback.
Identity.
10 sacks overall. 6 last night. 5 in 2 games for Khalil Mack. Reminds me of a modern day version, I'm showing my age here, of Derek Thomas. The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, of course.
I remember him having 7 sacks in a game before. Played with his hand in the dirt. Played standing up. Was ferocious rushing the quarterback. When I see Khalil Mack, and now I see the Bears, I think identity, and I think new era version of Derek Thomas.
See, I do like this Bears team. I think that they can improve a little bit on offense, but this has really been interesting to watch Seattle kind of crumble. Like, they were a powerhouse of the NFC. They had probably 3 years where it was just like they were kind of, if you're going to go to Super Bowls, got to go through Seattle. Like, they were one of the best teams in the NFC. They had a great offense. They had a great defense, especially the secondary that you mentioned earlier. And now you're looking at them and you're like, oh, I don't really see it. I don't see it happening. They can't protect Wilson. They can't run the ball. When he has time to throw, he threw that beautiful pass in the corner of the end zone at the end of the game, but that pick 6 was bad. He seems like he was running around just trying to, find time. I don't see this Seattle team being successful this year. I don't see them making the playoffs, and that's only 2 games into the season.
I agree with you. And shout to Shaquem Griffin, who had 2 interceptions. He played well for Seattle. But I agree with you, and that's what I mean by having the ability to create an identity and or using salary to build out your roster. Now, and rightfully so, that you need to take care of Russell Wilson, it is hamstrung the team from building around him. And it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out in multiple cities who have invested huge dollars into the quarterback position, because it definitely has an effect on what you're able to do with the rest of the team.
So you've got Khalil Mack. You've got this identity that you speak of that I totally agree with. However, they're in the same division. We're going to forget about the Lions. As the Packers and the Vikings. Do you see this Bears teams making the playoffs this year?
I don't see them making the playoffs because of the NFC, not necessarily because of the division. Trubisky did well yesterday. He's not clearly in the same category as Cousins. Definitely not in the same stratosphere at this point as Aaron Rodgers. There's so many tough teams in that conference vying for playoff spots. I don't think they have this year what it takes. But on Seattle, they're not the only team to lose in the Super Bowl and not be able to,
and then crumble.
and not be able to make the playoffs the next year.
Yep.
I mean, we saw that from Carolina. We're still trying to figure what the Falcons are going to be. So
we're still trying to figure out the Eagles are going to be.
No question about it. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
In one phase of the game, the Seahawks are absolutely dominant. They've got the best player at his position in the National Football League. They do have an identity. They've got the best punt game in the league. This dude, Michael Dixon, this Australian dude could punt. Not only can he punt, drop kicks the kickoff. This was after penalty, so it was a little shorter than normal. Drop kicks like it's 1925, and they got leather helmets on. And if you haven't been paying attention to the preseason or the first couple of games, Michael Dixon is that dude. He's the best punter in the game. Can the Seahawks build a championship contender around their punt game?
The only kicker in the league you can build your team around is Marquette King.
Marquette King is
That's
your
the
guy.
only
Marquette
one.
King is your guy.
That is the only one.
Doesn't matter how many corny videos he puts out, Jalen's still going to ride for Marquette King.
But I do like the fact that he drops the ball before he kicks it. It's a throwback, like, drop. But this is the other thing. He did an onside kick. They didn't clearly.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. It wasn't even close.
It went out of bounds.
It wasn't even close.
So I don't know why y'all use that as footage.
Well, this has been the second game in which Khalil Mack has been absolutely dominant, right? Absolutely dominant. And obviously, he wasn't on the team until recently. Why? Because John Gruden decided to trade him away. And John Gruden was asked about the move to trade Mack, and he said, we made the trade. You know there's going to be hindsight, 50-50, all that stuff, huh? But we would have loved to have had him here. I'm not going to keep rehashing this. Jalen, he says there's no regrets about trading Mack. Come on. John, Mr. Gruden,
100 mil,
Chucky,
and that's my man, 50 grand. But here's the thing. It's going to now be acknowledged that ultimately it's his call, because when you give somebody $100 million, he becomes the face of the franchise. He's become the ones that you either make decisions that he supports or you don't do the ones that he denies. So for the Raiders, it's going to be a long year. Yep. He's going to have to deal with these questions constantly. But how about for a fan base and for a locker room who gets a chance to watch one of the greatest football players of his era go out and perform for another team and become a Hall of Famer?
Because they haven't been playing at the same time. You know, Khalil Mack's getting primetime games.
No question.
They haven't been playing at the same time. So they're sitting there, recovering from Sunday, watching Mack on Monday, like,
Return of the Mack.
He definitely regrets it. Well, the Browns announced that they were going to release Josh Gordon, and the Patriots just picked up the phone and they said, oh, hey, would you happen to like a 5th-round pick for this guy? Or if he doesn't play that well, how about we'll make it a 7th-round pick? Well, guess what? He's traded to the Patriots, and that's where he is. Josh Gordon's obviously had a troubled past in terms of getting on the field and suspensions and all the litany of things that we know about. How do you think this plays out for Josh Gordon?
For him, just as an individual, I mean, he's talked about the journey that he's overcome between middle school and high school when there was codeine, Oxycontin, weed, clearly alcohol at Baylor, multiple issues while with the Browns, substance abuse, alcohol abuse. For the Cleveland Browns and their fan base, they were really patient with him.
6 years.
Nurturing. And so now when you go to the Patriots and they can control your rights in theory for 2 years at a pedestrian salary, I think now he's going to get a more masculine approach because they didn't draft him. They're bringing him with Tom Brady and they're bringing him with Belichick. Absolutely. And here's what I mean by that.
Explain yourself.
Short leash.
Okay.
We're going to deal with you like a grown man. in Cleveland, they treated it with kid gloves. We knew that he's one of the most productive receivers when he was healthy. So much so, the only other guys that had as many receiving yards in a game as him are Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, and Odell Beckham. So therefore, we're going to try to do whatever we can to get you back on the field. That's not going to be the case in New England, because now they're going to say, we're bringing you in. Tom Brady's only completing 37% of his passes to receivers. That's the second worst in the game. If you can't get it done, then they're going to release him. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the low risk. The high reward, this dude could be like a Randy Moss for them.
I mean, we've seen it, but, Randy Moss was coming in sort of like on the tail end of his career and was sort of troubled in the off-field stuff, kind of ridiculed, but he was on the field playing. Let's take a look at what Josh Gordon has done in his tenure at the Browns. These are the games that he actually played. 16 games first year, 14 games, 5 games up, then he's suspended. And then he's suspended and not playing. There's 2 years where he didn't play. 5 games 2 years ago, 1 game this year for 17 yards. He hasn't exactly been producing. If you look at it, it's about 350 yards in 4 years. What makes you think that the Patriots can just kind of snap their fingers and change his behavior and get him out in the field producing?
They're not going to snap their fingers. They're not going to change his behavior. He's already come out and talked about the behavior being changed. The difference is, he was on his final straw with a team that did so much to be patient with him.
He only gets one straw with the Patriots.
When you injure your hamstring allegedly at a promo shoot, they're going to cut ties with you. Now you enter the Patriots scenario. I think this level of final straw mentality is going to be beneficial to him. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to start this weekend. I think he's going to thrive with the Patriots. Uh-oh. And unfortunately for Dez Bryant, it also made me think, he probably won't have a team this year.
If you're Dez Bryant, I didn't think about that angle. You got to be sitting at home like, wait. This dude? Like this dude?
Correct.
Like
and remember,
him?
And by the way, a tweet that Dez sent, I would fit great with Hogan, Edelman, and Gronk. Mm-hmm. Enter Josh Gordon into that spot. So it's going to be interesting to see how his scenario plays out. But I think being in New England, and this is so a New England move, by the way.
Of course.
They seem to play chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
Of course. They're going a fifth-round pick.
Teams overvalue these picks in the NFL.
They really do.
How do the Patriots get this guy for a fifth-round pick? You don't mean the Lions can't give up a fifth-round pick?
You're always focused on the Lions.
Because we're 0-2.
It's time.
And you know who we play this week? That's my point. You know who we play this week?
Patriots. I can't wait till Josh Gordon has 3 touchdowns on y'all. It's time for News That Matters.
This dude about to kill us. Watch.
There's a German Ironman athlete, and he is in a place called Landshut, Bavaria. Have you ever been to Landshut, Bavaria?
No.
Okay. Well, he's there, and he's hungry. So he goes to an all-you-can-eat buffet. He pays about $18 for an all-you-can-eat buffet. What? Sits down at the buffet. He gets over 100 plates of sushi. Let me say that again. Over 100 plates of sushi. And he gets a lifetime ban from this restaurant. I have so many questions about this, Jalen Rose. But my first is, why would you ever eat 100 plates of sushi?
Did he eat all of them?
Yes.
Well, because I'm the only adult that I know that doesn't play golf or eat sushi. So for me hearing this, I see the small portions, but 100 plates of anything seems like it's way too much. But how do you get banned? It's all you can eat.
It's all you can eat.
That's the chance you take.
But here's the thing: if I want to pay more than $20 for all you can eat, you know what I mean? Like I would be like, they'll be like $20. Like, I'm gonna give you $40 because I don't feel right paying $20 for all you can eat sushi. And after 95 plates, he's still like, yeah, I still need some more.
But I think you and I agree on something. We're not necessarily fans of buffets or all-you-can-eats anyway.
No, I've never had a problem getting full at a restaurant.
It's too picked over.
Guess what? I want my food cooked for me. I don't want my food cooked for everybody. I want my food made to order. That's like when you go to the hotel and they're like, oh, we've got an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. I'm like, no, I'll take a plate with 2 eggs and some bacon and some toast.
I'm the dude that'll stand there until they bring the new sheets of plate of food out. That's what I'll do.
The new sheets of food?
Yes, you know how when they eat like the eggs or the hash browns or whatever, and they take the silver sheet.
Oh, yeah.
I'll stand there and wait for them to bring the new
bottom. Yeah,
no question about it. Or the platter.
Well, next, we're about to speak on something that's really just a rumor. And when we do that, it's time for unfounded, irresponsible speculation about pre-agent Kevin Durant. Now, a gentleman by the name of Brandon Robinson, who has the Scoop B radio show. He is verified on Twitter. So, there's some amount of journalistic responsibility behind that. And this is what he tweeted. And it's interesting and it's juicy. Ready? He tweeted, spoke to a source today who confirmed Kevin Durant will be a LA Laker next year. Quote, just like LeBron planned his move LA a year or more earlier, hashtag KD is going to do the same right now. They want to form the best duo in the NBA and set up KD to be the face of the Lakers post hashtag LeBron. Jalen Rose, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I don't believe that's happening. But I'm going to ask you, do you think there's any validation to this? Any chance this is happening?
I just don't think it's going to take place. And for those who haven't been paying attention, Kevin Durant is a part of the best duo in the NBA right now.
Oh!
With Steph Curry.
I like what you did there.
And they've won
Great point.
the last 2 championships, and he's won finals MVP both times.
They added Boogie Cousins.
I don't see him upsetting the apple cart in any way, shape, or form. And also, the tough thing about doing reporting, and we also respect our colleagues and everybody's trying to work hard at this
no
profession.
shots to Brandon Robinson. Like he probably heard this from somebody.
No question about it. He said that he heard it from a source. But the one thing I would acknowledge to kind of be careful of, using the word confirmed, because it can't be. It's not. As somebody that's been a free agent, things change. Minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. Injuries happen, circumstances change. So it's way too early to give any level of confirmation of something that's going to take place in July.
Well, let me just say this, is we didn't spend last year wondering if Kevin Durant was going to stay or not, right? Is there any chance that changes a little bit this year?
I don't think it changed. Here's what have made that change. If he would have went to the Golden State Warriors and all of a sudden they won 2 championships and he was averaging 17 points, taking 10 shots per game, and was an afterthought for the squad.
Oh, okay. When you're finals MVP.
He's not going to leave that situation based on how it's set up. They have something that's special, something that's unique, and it's going to be fans. It's going to be media. It's going to be speculation, unfounded, irresponsible about the pre-agent Kevin Durant, as we just alluded to, that has people discussing it. But I don't think it's going to take place from a player that already played with Russell in OKC. That relationship is finally repaired. Now you're going to leave Golden State
to join LeBron?
Not going to be able to.
If you've been stamped with the can't win a championship on your own team stamp, why would you go and join LeBron, which every team he's on is his team? I don't see it happening. It's interesting though, and they do have a max spot open, and we'll be talking about who's going to fill that max spot all season, but I don't think we'll be focused on Kevin Durant when we do so. Moving on, Karl Anthony Towns.
Big cat.
Shout out.
He's on the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's been a little dramatic around the Timberwolves of late. And he has an extension offered to him. And he's like, you know what? I hear about this meeting between y'all and Jimmy Butler. Seems like there's something going on there. I don't know who called the meeting. I don't know what's going on. But I'm not going to commit to this franchise for the prime of my career, in essence, until y'all figure that out. He's reportedly not going to sign the extension until the Jimmy Butler situation, whatever it is, gets resolved. What does that tell you about what's going on in Minnesota?
Well, we've talked about it a couple of times on this program. I talked about it during the season. We talked about it yesterday, that there's clearly a fracture between Tom Thibodeau, who's the leader. They gave $50 million to not only coach the team, but to make roster moves. He brought in Jimmy Butler, who he's familiar with, one of the top players in the game, a terrific performer, still an all-star level player, still in his prime as well, and what it takes for the work ethic of the young players that they're trying to lead. Karl Anthony Towns is first in line. He struggled against Houston in the playoffs. Some feel like it was based on how he was being used, but overall he got outplayed by Clint Capella in that front line to the point where he was irrelevant in that series. Jimmy Butler talks publicly about his disdain for the defensive effort of he and Wiggins, and how he wants them to play with a different level of intensity and focus and toughness. And so when those things start to be discussed for public consumption. And then there's speculation about Jimmy Butler may be considering exercising his free agency to probably go to LA. And then you see Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker, who played in college together, tweeting each other jerseys of Karl Anthony Towns with the Suns jersey on. It's too many unopened wounds that if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, you got to close them.
I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. I don't pretend to know things I don't know. I don't want to speculate about how relationships are going that I don't know about. But I'll say this. Do you know who's not in the rundown every day on Jalen and Jacoby? The Jazz, the Nuggets, other teams that are kind of right there, right around the 8th seed in the Western Conference. You don't hear anything about those teams. But for some reason, the Timberwolves always have some sort of drama swirling around. They're signing some ex-Bulls, or someone's unhappy about something, or someone tweeted this, or someone did that. And where there's smoke, sometimes there is fire. And I'm very curious to find out what comes out of this Jimmy Butler meeting. Jimmy Butler tweeted about that meeting that everyone reported was on Monday. And here's what he said. He said, exactly why people need to stop believing what you see on the internet. I didn't have no meeting today. It's tomorrow. I wonder what else people write and people believe. Jalen, I have a theory. I think he just missed the plane. I think it was set for Monday. He missed the plane. And he's like, oh, no, y'all are wrong. It's actually on Tuesday.
But the premise still stands. It's not when they're having the meeting. It's that a meeting is taking place. And number two, what now becomes the result of it?
Well, like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And some of those sparks were this comment from Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford, who's formerly on the Timberwolves, currently a free agent. He said, quote, about Minnesota, for me, it just wasn't a happy environment. I just wasn't happy. Jamal Crawford seemed to be on his way out of Minnesota, said it was not a happy environment. Well, guess what? I've got an update on Jamal Crawford's status, Mr. Rose. Would you like to hear it?
Sure. That's a little bro.
Reportedly, there is mutual interest between Jamal Crawford and wait for it.
I don't have to wait. I already said it on this show before.
The Boston Celtics. Jamal Crawford and the Boston Celtics. There's mutual interest between those teams. The Boston Celtics are a deep team. Like, they go 9 players deep. What do you think Jamal Crawford's role would be on the Celtics?
Love Jamal Crawford. That's family. And like you, a JRLA supporter. Don't like him in Boston.
Oh, really?
He's not going to fit. I played with him in Chicago and in New York. He's going to go down as probably one of the greatest 6 men ever.
They're going to rename the trophy.
He's won the trophy 3 times.
They're going to rename it after.
And when you talk about handles that undress players in the league, he's in the conversation. He needs a lot of room to operate. And when you look at the Celtics backcourt, now think about this. You got to integrate Kyrie and Hayward. You just re-signed Smart.
Yep.
And Terry Rozier had a coming out party in the playoffs. It's just no room.
There's not a lot of room. I mean, he would get some minutes in that second unit, but like, he's the kind of guy, like, he's not a swing ball movement, listen to the coach kind of guy. He's like, give me the ball and let me cook and then let me score kind of guy. And maybe it's not the best fit for him production-wise, but it might be the best fit for him in terms of let me sort of like make a run at a championship.
I got a squad for him. Make a run at a championship. Type of team.
Tell us, Mr. Rose.
Golden State Warriors.
I love it. I love it so much. He'd be taking the minimum, but that would be so much fun.
Stay tuned.
Whether it's running a route or swinging a bat, in sports, timing matters. The same thing applies for feeding your lawn with Scott's, and fall is the best time to feed because of the cool air and warm soil. That's why you need Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard, the best product for fall feeding. Just one more feeding gives your grass the nourishment it needs to recover from the wear and tear of summer. The end of the season is when championships are won. So get a championship quality lawn with Scott's. Feed again this fall. It's the perfect time to grab a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Winter Guard. This is a Scott's Yard.
Jalen, Le'Veon Bell doesn't seem too concerned about losing game checks every week. Some dude was just driving around on his jet ski, just pulls up on Le'Veon Bell, like everybody does nowadays, breaks out the camera phone, records some video, and these are the results. Shout out
here with the best running back of all time, baby.
You already know what it is, man. We out here cooling it on the jet skis, man.
We out here getting it, baby. Give my man his money.
You already know.
Give him
Is
his
it
money.
time for the Steelers to give Le'Veon his money?
I need to break news to everyone.
Oh.
The Steelers can't pay Le'Veon Bell anything right now.
Yeah, I feel like some people are getting lost with
People
that detail.
keep talking about this topic like the franchise tag didn't expire this past summer. It expired, June 15th? July 15th, whenever it expired. That next day, instead of having his teammates probably disappointed or upset at him, he probably could have told the squad, since y'all didn't decide to pay me, I want to be traded. In other words, what I'm trying to say, and this is the breaking news, ultimately, I would deem that they should go ahead and trade him.
He's like, I'm sitting out or you're trading me. Those are the sort of the two ways it's going, because what's not going to happen is me suiting up in a SEAL uniform and playing for this money.
Well, you could come back in week 10, but here's what happens. Team 5-5, guys not happy with you.
Oh, yeah. Seems like no one's happy.
That's not the move. And so I think the resolution that we're going to see in this situation, just like we saw with Khalil Mack.
Put it on wax.
We're going to see the Pittsburgh Steelers be forced to trade Le'Veon Bell, and that now allows him the opportunity to get his money.
And like Khalil Mack, he's going to be traded for 75 cents on the dollar. This happens all the time. It's just like, it's amazing. These are two of the best players in the NFL, like two of the best players in the NFL, and they're going to get traded for undervalue if it plays out.
The Steelers mismanaged this. You got to get in front of it like the Rams did early with Todd Gurley. It's like, we see that this guy's one of the best in the league. We're going to pay him now. They could have solved this a couple of years ago and actually got him for cheaper based on a lot of the deals that we're seeing take place now with Aaron Donald and all of these astronomical deals for quarterbacks.
Well, seems like there's a lot of drama going on in Pittsburgh right now. There's a gentleman who used to work in the PR department for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name's Ryan Scarpino. And he was just voicing his opinion about his old employers. You know how sometimes that can happen. And he took to Twitter and he tweeted this. AB needs to thank his lucky stars because he was drafted by a team that had Ben. And Ben got AB paid. You know darn well he wouldn't put up those numbers for other teams. And then Antonio Brown tweets back, for some reason, trade me, let's find out. What? Jalen, Antonio Brown knows what he's doing. He's got in trouble on social media before. He's been socially awkward before. He knows what he's doing. After you tie the Browns, then lose to the Chiefs, you're going to go out with your Twitter fingers and say, trade me, let's find out. Win with Bell on a jet ski, Brown tweeting this. What is happening?
More than just appearance. He's on his Nino Brown for real right now. And the one thing about Antonio Brown, he sat back and watched Julio Jones not initially show up to voluntary workouts and get some rework done to his contract. Team basically promised him going to take care of him after this year. He saw Odell Beckham get paid.
Yep.
And though he has already gotten paid by the Pittsburgh Steelers, there probably is a part of him that's like, what if I was the lead dog and I had my own show? Because it doesn't seem like it's going to take place in Pittsburgh when y'all not taking care of my man, Le'Veon Bell.
Antonio Brown's well compensated for his position.
There was one player that we acknowledged that came out, tweeted support for Le'Veon Bell. Who was it?
Antonio Brown.
Okay, so that means they feel the same way about the organization. That's what that means.
So who's to blame for this? The front office should be paying people, or Coach Tomlin should be sort of reining this in? Like who is to blame?
Well, initially, you want the responsibility to be on the individual. You want, in a team dynamic, that everybody be focused on getting wins and losses and making each other better. That's what a team sport is designed to do, and make sacrifices for each other. Le'Veon has already let it be known, 30-year-old running back, I can't be taking no more wear and tear. Y'all ran me in the ground last year, 460 touches. That was the most in the league. I'm getting paid right now. And so for Antonio Brown, he like, wait a minute. I see y'all could have took care of him. Y'all didn't take care of him. Since he out, I need to be getting double the touches. Okay, so I know y'all threw it to me 9, but the first week, the Falcons, they targeted Julio 19.
And where does Antonio Brown think he's going to be traded to? That's going to be a better situation for him.
Well, it's not necessarily about the quarterback anymore. Initially, it was. I'm one of these people that for so very long talked Ben Roethlisberger into the top conversation amongst quarterbacks because he deserved it. And I saw him win 2 Super Bowls before Antonio Brown was one of the best receivers in the game.
Yep.
Just like I saw Eli win 2 Super Bowls before Beckham was one of the best receivers in the game. So who's throwing the ball to you matters. Ask Kelvin Benjamin.
Of course.
But now at this point of his career, you can plug and play him with any top quarterback, and he's still going to put up astronomical numbers.
Well, it's time for Soft Moving Boss. When I say Fitzmagic, what image pops into your head?
Ryan Fitzpatrick wearing Deshaun Jackson's jewels at the press conference.
Well, Dolphins rookie Minkah Fitzpatrick, no relation. He went out and filed a trademark for Fitzmagic, knowing that when anyone thinks of Fitzmagic, they think about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Soft move or boss move, trademarking Fitzmagic when it's not really your thing.
Gather around, boys and girls. Boss move.
Oh, Jalen, you don't believe that. Look me in the face. I know you very well. You do not believe that.
I do.
No, you do not.
That's why I sat up straight.
You do not.
With proper etiquette.
No.
And I'm going to show you why. Because you're making this emotional.
No, I'm not. I'm making this logical.
Okay. Emotions and logic. Let me tell you two places they don't pay. At the bank. Okay.
You think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to pay Minkah Fitzpatrick for this?
All I'm saying is this. If Fitzmagic becomes a thing, somebody in the world's going to own it. Let me give you a different example.
Fitzmagic already became a thing. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick's thing.
It's been
his thing for years. Since Minkah was like 16 years old. Ryan Fitzmagic was a thing.
Let me show you a different way to think about this. There's a term out there for people. They're called squatters. And you know what they do? They sit on your .com name.
And that's a soft move.
They sit on your IG name. They sit on your Twitter name.
That's a soft move.
And I don't like that they do it. But ultimately, it's a boss move.
No, it's not. You know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to trademark Jalen versus everybody right during this break.
It's already done.
I actually used Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix. What is that, you say? Well, I'll tell you exactly what it is. My wife signed me up. You know why? Because she doesn't like my clothes. She thought I needed some new clothes. I do need some new clothes. I'm getting bored of the way I look. Same jacket, same t-shirt, same thing all the time. So with Stitch Fix, my wife signed me up, and here's what they do. They have a personal stylist that understands what you like, talks to you about what your personal style is, and then they pick from an array of clothing, from an array of brands, from an array of price points, and they send you a box of clothes. And what do you do with those clothes? You don't have to buy them. You go and try them on in the comfort of your own home, and your wife can be there, if you're like me, and critique every single one that you put on. And then when you get something that you love, that fits right, that feels right, that works with your wardrobe, you keep the items that you love and you send back the ones that you don't. And guess what? It's not difficult. Because I'm lazy. They give you the bag. They give you the packing slip. All you have to do is put it in the mail, and they send it back to you. You only keep the clothes that you love, and they give you a great discount price on everything. Their styling fee is only $20, and that's also applied as a credit to anything that you keep. Your personal stylist uses only your preferences to pick your clothes, so you are still in complete control. And here's what you do. You go to stitchfix.com/Jacoby and you get started right now. If you keep all 5 items in your Stitch Fix box, you get 25% off your entire purchase. Go to stitchfix.com/Jacoby. Stitchfix.com/Jacoby. Get started with Stitch Fix. Have your own personal stylist sending you clothes that you only keep the ones that you love. Use Stitch Fix. I use it. It's great. It's time for Cultural or Regional. We went on to Twitter. Follow us at Jalen and Jacoby. And we asked the people, because we give the people what they want.
And what they need.
To give us cultural or regional questions, and they delivered. First up, we have this from Mid-City, LA. Cultural or regional, shaving with a razor. He also said, no black man under 45 owns or buys razor blades. That, I had no idea was a thing.
Thank you.
I had no idea that was a thing. Jalen Rose is leaving because Jalen Rose not only doesn't shave with a razor, Jalen Rose has never, ever, 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 ever in his whole entire life shaved with a razor. Never shaved his own face. One, he's rich, okay? That's one indicator that you've got too much money when you've never put a razor to your own face. Two, it means this is cultural.
I've tried to tell you this for years. You argue with me about this. You thought I was lying to the people initially
think you're lying to
when
the people
I told
still.
you I've never shaved.
Like, you don't know how to use a razor?
I don't own a razor.
But
Ask
you wouldn't know,
my wife. She
what
works
to do.
here.
You wouldn't know what to do if I gave you shaving cream and a razor. You've not seen it in the movies. You haven't seen, your barber hasn't done it enough times where you could get it done if you had to.
You're burying the lead. The reason why it's cultural is people that look like me get razor bumps. I already had bad skin growing up. I definitely don't need to encourage my skin to get any more bumps.
You know what happened is I shaved not only with a razor, but I shaved without shaving cream. I can just use soap and water. And some of my black friends look at me like, what are you doing? Like I've got like a knife to my own throat. They're like, stop. I'm like, I don't get bumps. I can shave with no water. I can shave like Crocodile Dundee out in the open with a knife.
I'm looking at you like, what are you doing?
No one got that Crocodile Dundee reference.
No, that's cultural too.
Yeah, it's called Crocodile Dundee's cultural.
How about that?
Crocodile Dundee's cultural too.
How about that?
So he said
you thought I was lying to the people. I've never used a razor. I don't own a razor. And so I'm glad that this tweet confirmed it for our program so you can get off my back about it.
I will never get off your back about it. You just got too much money. Let's move on to the next cultural or regional question. Jay Henley, wearing basketball shorts under your jeans. Cultural or regional? I've got the answer to this one.
I do too.
Regional. I'll tell you why. You're from the Northeast. You're from the Midwest. You're going to basketball practice.
And it's December.
You're going to play basketball later. Or if you don't have long johns, you wear the basketball shorts under the jeans. However, let me say this. When I was doing this, jeans were baggy. Jeans were much baggier, in 1994 than they are now. So you could have the basketball shorts underneath and no one would even notice.
I got to tell you a Fab Five secret.
Oh!
The shorts were baggier too.
Yes, they were.
When you watch how people rock their gear now, it's just not as baggy pants or shorts. So I will say now, based on the current landscape, usually how people wear their pants, the shorts won't fit.
No.
So I would say it was something that I used to do that I used to think was actually athletic.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
You know what I mean? It's like, I got my gear on
whenever I'm ready. I'm ready whenever. I'm always ready to ball.
But there's a but. And maybe because I became an athlete, I would never wear shorts under jeans.
Now? Oh, no.
I've never have.
You never have?
No.
Oh, I have many times.
I never have.
Many times. Also, we were sagging those big baggy jeans. It was kind of cool to have like a nice silky colored thing going on.
Every time I hooped is like somebody that's planning a meal. It was a plan. I would have on jogging pants.
Oh, most of the time
I would not have on jeans when I was about to go.
I've played in checkered Vans and jeans so many times I can't even tell you. Let's move on.
What?
Next one. JT wants to know, cultural or regional, air guitar. Huh. Going cultural on that.
That's definitely cultural because I'm trying to
you don't even know
my
what
mind
it is?
Exactly.
You don't know.
I know what a guitar is.
Wait. Push the brakes, Reg. Push the brakes. You don't know what air guitar is.
You know
I learn things about you all the time.
I'm going to tell you.
You don't know what air guitar is?
I do know what it is. I'll show it to you.
Oh, there you go. That's air guitar. You know what air guitar is. That's a good look. So maybe it's not so cultural. But you know what? I'll tell you what is cultural. Extremely accurate air guitaring. That's cultural.
Did you see Andre 3000 in his movie?
Video? What?
No, he was playing the guitarist, one of the greatest of all time.
Jimi Hendrix?
Jimi Hendrix. I saw that's great on Netflix. You got to check that out.
I will. Yep. Let's check out the next cultural regional question. This is from Post Def. Cultural regional, comfortably addressing complete strangers. That's regional. That's regional.
Regional, because if you're in New York City or you're on the East Coast, you can walk down the street and see thousands of people. Y'all never even look at each other or talk.
No, never say hello. And then all of a sudden I moved to Los Angeles.
Or Midwest.
Oh, in the South?
South.
Oh, you go down south, you walk down the street. People don't just say hello as you walk by them on the sidewalk. They ask you how your day is going. Like, I'm supposed to stop where I'm going and have small talk with every single person that walks by. How am I going to even get where I'm going?
That's why it's called Southern hospitality. And in the Midwest,
it makes me uncomfortable.
It also fosters itself there as somebody that spent time in every region. Fortunately, this does not fly on the East Coast.
No.
And let me give you an East Coast trademark thing that I'm going to challenge everybody to do.
Okay.
When you're walking up a crowded, busy street and there's people going from side to side, left to right, don't be one of those people. Walk straight. Don't move out of everybody's way. I found myself, I'm 6'8". Why I'm moving out of everybody's way?
I move out of everybody's way.
And then before you know it, I bumped into 10 people. People literally walk right into you.
You spend some more time here. So I went to one of your places, Indianapolis, for the Super Bowl. everyone was just so nice. Correct. I swear I could walk up to somebody and be like, can I have $100? And they'd be like, what's it for?
If I'm having a good day and you ask the right way, they consider it.
I'm telling you, they would consider it. They really would. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like talking to strangers like that. I'll say hello. I'll give a nod or whatever. I don't like talking to strangers like that.
But you just told on yourself. You asked for $100. What strip club were you at?
I did not ask for $100, and it was the Red Garden. Jalen Rose, you know who Elon Musk is? He's a billionaire. He owns Tesla. He owns SpaceX. He's got big ideas about how the world should work, and he's going to send people around in trains, and he's got all these big ideas about the future, right?
He got money to blow.
He's got a lot of money to blow. When we last saw him, he was blowing something else on Joe Rogan's podcast, and we're talking medicinal. Got him in some trouble. Well, it seems like that medicinal's been working because he's got a new idea. His new idea is he's going to send some tourists around the moon. Okay? What? And one of those people that is going on this is a Japanese billionaire by the name of Saku Mizawa. And Saku Mizawa, he started selling CDs in the mail. And now he has $2.9 billion.
We sold CDs.
I know. Yeah, that's what he said. I feel like there's a lot of the story that we're missing.
There's something
you know what I mean?
There.
But he started some fashion mall thing and whatever.
There you go.
$2.9 billion. He's going to go. Not only is he going to go, he's going to bring 6 to 8 artists with him. And he's going to pay for those artists. Jalen Rose, you're an artist. Is there any chance that you join Saku Mizawa and the rest of these creatives on the trip around the moon?
I think he has too much money for these shenanigans.
That's what I'm saying.
Because, there's a lot of people relying on him. You said $2.9 billion.
Yeah, and he's got huge companies in Japan. One's called, I forget what it's called, Zozo Town. Zozo Town doesn't sound like it's worth a lot, but it probably is.
Yep. The only way I would be one of his artists, and maybe this is taking place, is if I'm getting paid. I'm not just doing this.
You don't need a free ticket.
For a novelty.
So what's the number? Great question. I know you. You don't like these kind of things. You're not a skydiver. Oh. You don't like risks. What is the number where $1 less you're not going around the moon, but at this number you're going around the moon? What's the number that Saku could throw at Jalen Rose? And I'm going to send him a strongly worded email with this number attached. So be careful when you select it or else you're going around the moon.
$20 million.
$20 million. You're getting strapped into a spaceship and going around the moon. $20 million. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll put that contract in front of you. Yeah, you're not signing it. You're not signing that contract.
That's no not amount your real of money. Number. There's no amount of
money. That's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. People that should be going to take a risk like this are not people that are worth $3 billion.
Yeah.
Like, you're having too much good a time on earth. Like, why are you trying to stretch
But
this?
Also,
don't fly to the fun. Jalen Rose always says, don't fly to the fun.
Correct. And
the moon's too far to fly to the fun.
I always feel like the things like bungee jumping and things that I feel like I'll get nauseated just being up so high or traveling so fast. Like, what if you just don't feel well all of a sudden?
I'm sure they've got something for that. My thing is I will bungee jump. I will jump off a bridge with a bungee jump, and I'll think to myself, 300,000 people have done this before. So I'll just go do it. And they've all survived. But no one's done the around the moon thing before, so no thank you.
Hold on, hit the brakes.
Why are we hitting the brakes?
You'll bungee jump?
Yeah, no doubt I'll bungee jump.
You will?
Of course I will.
So we're going to do that for the show.
Sure. You're paying,
great.
Just like Saku, though, you're paying for it.
But I'll pay for it. But here's the one thing, and I hate to say this because I love you so much.
What?
I won't be able to watch.
Why not?
I don't want to be able to watch.
You have to watch. If we're doing it for the show, you have to watch.
I don't want to watch. You'll think I'm watching, but I ain't watching.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because that'd frighten me.
But here's my thing. It's literally 900,000 people have done it from that exact same bridge with that exact same rope, and they've all lived. Do you think I'm going to be the one that doesn't live?
Here's what I learned a long time ago. Focus on you.
Okay.
Don't worry about everybody else.
Okay.
Just because everybody else was able to do it, that don't mean you're going to be able to do it.
If I do it, will you do it after me?
I'm never doing it.
You're never going to bungee jump?
Never. You almost made me curse.
You've never cursed ever since I met you. What were you going to say?
No way. Absolutely not. That's cultural.
Skydive?
Cultural.
What about
cultural.
Skiing? Will you go skiing down the mountain? Will you go to skiing down the mountain?
Skydiving, bungee jumping, skiing, cultural.
You won't snowboard?
Cultural.
Will you go sledding down a mountain?
Cultural.
Sledding is not cultural.
Cultural.
Sledding is not cultural. Will you go sledding down a mountain with me?
Cultural.
Will you go in a toboggan with me down a mountain?
No.
Please?
Peeing in the bed, that's regional.
So, Jalen, I want to tell you a story about this morning.
Okay.
My son comes into the room.
Nephew.
My wife is not a morning person, So I take the original morning duties. Like when the son walks in the room, I take care of him. Okay. She's not a morning person.
Teamwork, dream work.
So I got up and I was like, man, I feel groggy today. I was like, did I drink last night? Like, no, not really. Why do I feel like this? Looked at the phone and he's excited. He wants to tell me about his dream that he had, which was a mix of Toy Story and Paw Patrol. He's fired up.
He's so classy. I would have been telling you about mermaids.
He's talking a mile a minute and I'm like, this dude is awake. I look at my phone. It's 3:15 in the morning. 3:15 a.m. He's talking a mile a minute, going on about this dream. Daddy, I gotta pee.
Whoa, I thought he was gonna say it was 6:15.
He's peeing at the same time. He's telling the story about the dream with Chickarella flying through the sky and finding the cell phone. Andy from Toy Story lost his cell phone. It's a boring ass dream, but he's telling the whole story.
I used to always dream and pee in the bed at the same time that I was going to the bathroom.
He was peeing in the bathroom. He wasn't like you. What was your nickname?
Mr. Peabody.
Mr. Peabody. That's right. Shout out to Mr. Peabody.
Shout out.
So he does this, and I'm like, Q, it's too early. You gotta go back to bed. So I put him back to bed at 3:20, 3:50, back in the room. And you could tell from a child's energy whether they're tired or not. He ain't tired. My wife's upset. 4:30, he comes back. 5 o'clock, he comes back.
Stop it right
now. I'm complaining. I'm like, you know, no one's in a great mood at that time in the morning. You get woken up like that. I'm telling my wife, I'm like, look, I don't have time to like take a nap in my day like the way you do. Like, this is important. This is Monday night. You know, as I get more tired as the week goes on, I'm like, I kind of bank on these. I plan my week very carefully. You know what I mean? I take Monday night, Tuesday night I take them easy so then I can kind of turn up on Wednesday, Thursday and just make my way to the end of the week. Well, then it's 5:30, he came back in the room. And then 6. I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. My wife has a good strategy. She gives him some snacks and puts him in his room and just like, yo, closes the door. Like, if you're going to be up, here's something that you want so you can stand there and buy myself 20 minutes. I don't know what to do. Do I put a lock on the outside of his room?
No.
That's not how you handle these?
That's a safety hazard.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Don't do that.
Good point.
You want him to always feel like he could come to you guys.
No, I don't.
Whether at 3 in the morning.
No, I want him to feel, I don't. I want him to feel like he can't come to us until 6:30 a.m. That's what I want him to feel. We used to have a clock that turned green at 6:30. Like, all right, now's your go time.
Here's what you can do, but I know you won't do.
What's that?
Let him stay up a little later.
No, this is a thing. At the school, he just started kindergarten. And at the school, the teacher's like, you gotta put him to sleep by 7:30, 8 o'clock.
See, that's too early.
That's what I said.
That's the problem.
But you know who really loves this? Wife Dukes.
And the twins.
And I ain't trying to have, they're already.
So they out too.
They go to sleep at the same time.
No doubt.
Twins are good because when the twins wake up, they have each other. So like, it's different. When you wake up alone, you're scared, you're alone, you run to mommy and daddy. The twins wake up like, yo, what's up?
You know what you want to do? What you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. They start playing by themselves. That's one of the things about twins that's underrated is like, they got a little playmate right there, so they don't really need to necessarily run to mommy and daddy. This doesn't happen that often, but when it happens, man, it's tough.
I just gave you the solution, and you talked to me about the problem. He going to bed too early.
That's what I think too. But here's the thing: it's like I'm not going to argue with my wife and the wife's and the teacher. You feel me?
Here's the thing: you shouldn't argue with science. If he go to bed at 7 o'clock and he getting up at 3 o'clock, that's 8 hours.
Say that again.
If he go to bed at 7 o'clock and he get up at 3 o'clock, that's 8 hours. Like how long you want him to sleep?
That's what I'm screaming. I'm kind of on your side. He got to go to bed later. I'm on your side.
That's what it is.
But you know what?
Make him feel like you're rewarding him. Give him a video game. Give him a toy. Give him a movie. And be like, between 8 and 9, this is your little quiet time to cook. And then allow him to kind of fall asleep between 8:30 and 9.
After the show, can we conference call? Can we conference call Joey after this?
Yes.
First of all, Reg in my ear. Reg, you could tell doesn't have any kids. You know what Reg's solution was? Tell me what Reg's solution was.
Let him play video games.
Let him play video games.
He'd be up all night.
You want me to put him in front of video games at 3:30 in the morning? Guess what happens tomorrow, Reg? He wakes up at 3:30 in the morning and wants to play video games. You know what happens at school?
It becomes fun.
He's tired at school, and then he starts crying and acting crazy after school. No.
Hold on. And I need and another secret parental
Reggie
thing.
Just wants it to be old school.
Another secret parental thing.
Reg. Wait till you have a kid.
That you can't underestimate. He probably gets a chance to take a nap at school.
Doesn't. Kindergarten, they don't play that.
What? Okay. So there's no way he could go to bed at 7:30 and you anticipate that he's going to stay in bed till 6.
He normally does, Mr. Rose. No. I've got a full lifetime on this. I know this kid's
He's
pattern.
older. He's getting older. Kids get older.
He sleeps from 8 to 6:30 every day, 10.5 hours.
He's older.
Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to talk to my wife about this. You're going to talk to my wife.
I will.
You talk to Joey.
And you know how it works.
After you talk to Joey, I'm going to put Reg on the phone and just be like, okay, this is what Reg thinks we should do.
All young men know this. When you wake up in the morning, things change as you get older. Some of them you can't control.
I want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. We're going to not get fired. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be back the day after that. We'll be back the day after that. We'll be back the day after that. Monday through Friday. Longer pods, better pods, giving the people what they want. Ladies, don't forget.
Hey, ladies!
Call 985-80-JALEN. We need your voicemails for tomorrow's show.
And also, fellas, we need your help. It's one thing for us to shout the ladies to make sure that they call in, but as you continue to talk about sports and entertainment and your favorite podcasts, don't hesitate to tell your favorite fellas, your favorite ladies about the show and encourage them to call in. Yeah. Encourage them to leave voicemails.
Also, don't be afraid to tweet at ESPN about how much you love Jalen and Jacoby. Doesn't hurt.
Do that every day.
If you think people don't see it, you're wrong.
And you know what else you can do? You can also tell them the shows that you like Jalen and Jacoby better than. We don't mind that.
No, we don't.
Nope.
We'll be back tomorrow. Why, Reg?
Done. We're not done. We're not done. Got to give the people time. Give people what they want.
They my little guys. I love them.
Speaking of the Hobbits, let's talk about LeBron James for a second.